Okay, let's start here. Imagine you're just waiting in line
Hmm.
at the grocery store maybe,
Hmm.
or for coffee.
Yeah.
Your hands are empty. Your
Yeah.
phone is tucked away. You're just there. How does that feel? For a surprising number of us, that simple act of stillness, doing nothing,
Yeah.
can feel genuinely uncomfortable.
Oh, definitely. A little antsy.
A little antsy, maybe even like jarring.
That discomfort, that sort of inability to just be without something flashing or buzzing, it's actually a really telling signal about our relationship with modern technology. It's a big part of why phrases like digital detox have become so popular so quickly.
Right. It just highlights how deeply ingrained this whole thing is. And today, we're taking a deep dive into that very idea. We've pulled together a stack of, well, really fascinating sources.
Uh-huh.
Everything from practical guides on how to do a digital detox to articles exploring the power of nature retreats, wellness experiences, including some interesting examples from places like Turkey.
And our goal isn't just to say, put your phone down. It's to really dig into why we feel this almost magnetic pull to constantly check our devices.
Yeah, what is that?
We want to uncover the surprising ways this nonstop connectivity affects us physically, mentally, even like on a brain level. And then most importantly, we'll explore the practical paths forward.
How to actually do it.
How to actually unplug and recharge, whether that's carving out dedicated retreat time or just making small, impactful changes in your daily life.
So let's unpack this. What is it about these devices that makes them so hard to resist? We all know we check them a lot, but when you look at the data, it's kind of eye-opening.
It really is.
I saw one survey finding that something like 80% of 18 to 44-year-olds check their smartphones within the first 15 minutes of waking up.
Wow, 80%.
And for those 18-24, it jumps to nearly 90%. Almost three-quarters of that younger group grab their device immediately, like eyes open, grab phone.
And it doesn't stop there, does it? Think about email people are checking it roughly every 15 minutes throughout the workday. Before smartphones were everywhere, like back in, 2007, the average knowledge worker opened email 50 times a day. Imagine what that number is now.
Oh, I don't even want to guess. It's
Yeah.
just constant.
Yeah.
And part of the pull, the sources suggest, is simply that checking feels, well, it feels kind of good, doesn't it? It hits a certain part of the brain.
It does.
It's like this constant stream of novelty and stimulation, and our brains are just, hardwired to crave that.
There's definitely a neurological thing going on, but it also feeds into this really potent illusion of productivity.
Ah, yes, the feeling busy part.
We're constantly checking, switching tasks, multitasking, and it feels like we're being incredibly productive, like we're totally on top of everything.
Yes, you feel busy, important, always connected. But the research tells a completely different story. A Stanford study found that heavy media multitaskers thought they were better at juggling tasks.
They perceive themselves as better, yeah.
That when they were actually tested, they performed worse on, every single measure.
They described it with this really striking phrase. All sound and fury, no meaning or significance.
Oof.
You feel all that frantic activity, but it doesn't actually translate into effective work.
That really resonates. You feel like you're conquering your inbox and messages, but you're actually just making yourself less effective overall.
Mm-hmm.
And the cost of that interruption,
Mm-hmm.
it's huge. Some research says it can take a good half hour to truly get back into a focused state after a big digital interruption.
Which brings us right back to that discomfort of doing nothing we started with.
Right.
The science behind the urge to check is linked to this. The brain's deep-seated hunger for novelty is a huge driver, but it's also about avoiding stillness. Remember that Tim Wilson study you mentioned?
The one where people were just left alone in a room with their thoughts for 6 to 15 minutes.
Exactly. And many found it profoundly unpleasant. They preferred doing mundane external things. And in the most extreme examples, a significant number chose to give themselves electric shocks rather than just sit there.
That statistic is just wild.
One person shocked himself 190 times in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Preferring actual physical pain to sitting quietly with your own mind for a few minutes?
Yeah.
That alone tells you so much about how uncomfortable we've become with just inner stillness.
It really does. It underscores the depth of our craving for external stimulation. And the reward system plays a massive role, too.
The likes and comments.
Exactly. Social media platforms are specifically designed to trigger this. Getting a like, a comment, a new notification, it activates the brain's reward pathway, right? creates an expectation of that feeling that drive you to check compulsively for the next little hit.
It's absolutely designed that way, isn't it? This is the core of the whole attention economy.
That's it.
Tech companies need your time on their platforms because that's how they make money, mostly ads. They are totally incentivized to keep you hooked.
Precisely. It's their business model.
Okay, so we're checking constantly because our brains are kind of wired for it. It feels good. It creates this illusion of productivity, and we actively avoid stillness, even, wow, to the point of preferring pain. But let's go beyond just feeling busy or a bit antsy. What are the actual, measurable effects of this constant connectivity on our bodies and minds?
Well, the impacts are pretty far-reaching. Beyond just feeling ineffective, there are significant physical and psychological costs.
Okay.
Physically, constant device use definitely contributes to sedentary behavior, which we all know is linked to numerous health problems.
Sure, setting too much. And sleep, too. That feels like a huge one.
Oh, it's absolutely critical. That low-energy blue light emitted by screens is a major disruptor. It stimulates parts of the brain that promote alertness
Wakes you up.
and suppresses the production of melatonin, the hormone essential for signaling to our bodies that it's bedtime.
So the light itself is basically telling your brain, nope, stay awake.
Right. Plus, the content we're often consuming right before bed, stimulating social media, stressful work emails, anxiety-inducing news that can trigger the release of adrenaline.
Oh, great.
So you get the double whammy, light telling you to be alert, and the content activating your stress response. Sleep quality just plummets.
And when sleep suffers, everything suffers, right? Health, mood, focus, creativity, everything.
Exactly. Psychologically, the effects are also pretty clear from the sources. People who constantly check their phones report higher levels of distress, even during their downtime, their leisure time.
Really, even when they're supposed to be relaxing.
Yeah. It's strongly associated with increased anxiety, depression, and feelings of loneliness.
That loneliness piece is so weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're on social media, which is supposed to be social, but it can actually make you feel more isolated and miserable.
It's a really common finding. Seeing those curated, perfect-looking versions of other people's lives can trigger envy, comparison, that feeling of falling short.
Yeah, the comparison trap.
All of which contribute to feelings of misery and loneliness despite feeling superficially connected online. And unfortunately, body image issues are also frequently linked to too much social media.
This is where it gets really interesting because the research also points to actual physical changes happening in the brain because of these habits.
That's right. Thanks to neuroplasticity, the brain's incredible ability to reorganize itself, forming new connections based on what we do.
Like learning an instrument changes your brain.
Exactly. Our digital habits are literally rewiring ours in the same way.
And what does that constant media multitasking do? The jumping between apps, emails, texts.
Well, that heavy media multitasking is associated with increased effort required in the prefrontal cortex that's like the CEO of your brain, right?
Yeah.
Responsible for focus, decision-making, impulse control.
Okay.
It has to work much harder to manage all that constant switching, which can lead to cognitive overload, burnout, and just feeling mentally exhausted.
So we're basically making the part of our brain that helps us focus and make good decisions work overtime, all the time.
Pretty much. And one study even suggested that excessive social media use might lead to a pruned amygdala, which is involved in processing emotions and making decisions.
Wow.
Now, more research is needed there, but it raises a fascinating question about how our digital habits might actually be impacting our capacity for emotional regulation.
Okay, this sounds quite serious, but the good news is if constant connectivity has these negative effects, then the opposite must be true. Unplugging has real benefits, right?
Absolutely. The sources are very clear on this. Intentionally detoxing from social media and just the excessive digital noise significantly promotes overall well-being and mental health.
Makes sense.
Taking a break is linked to improved mood, greater overall happiness, directly countering some of those negative feelings like loneliness, envy, and misery that social media can stir up.
So by unplugging, you can actually feel less lonely and more genuinely connected. That seems counterintuitive at first.
It does, but that's one of the most powerful benefits. While social media offers a feeling of connection, unplugging creates space for actual real-world interactions and relationships. And feeling truly connected to others is one of the strongest predictors of happiness there is.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
And the sleep benefit we talked about earlier, that must be huge too.
Foundational. Unplugging allows for more restorative sleep. Removing devices from the bedroom, especially before bed, cuts out that blue light and the stress response stimulation.
Better sleep helps everything.
Everything from physical health to happiness, productivity, cognitive performance. So the benefits are clear. Better mental health, less stress, improved sleep, and deeper, more meaningful connections. But the big question is, how do we actually do it? It feels so ingrained, so hard to even start.
Okay, yeah, the practical stuff. That's where the sources offer a pretty clear roadmap. Step one seems to be make a no excuses plan. This isn't something you can just decide to do on a whim and hope it works.
No, you need to be deliberate, and telling people about it is crucial. Let friends, family, coworkers know you're doing this so they understand why you might be slow to respond or unreachable for a bit.
Right. Manage expectations.
That external accountability, what one source called crowdsourced willpower, it makes a big difference.
I like that. Crowdsourced willpower. Use your social circle to help you stay on track. And provide an emergency contact number that isn't your main phone, mostly for your own peace of mind. Correct?
Exactly. And this step also includes making specific plans for what you will do with your time. Don't just take away the tech. Fill that void with engaging activities you actually want to do.
Right. And lean into analog tools.
Right.
Get out the paper map if you need directions. Use an old-fashioned alarm clock.
Yeah.
Print out essential phone numbers. Read a physical book. Find a way to listen to music that doesn't involve your phone. Basically, remove the functional excuses for picking up your device.
Then step 2 is brilliant in its simplicity. Hide the candy. It basically acknowledges that relying only on willpower often doesn't cut it. You have to change your environment.
Make it genuinely inconvenient to plug back in.
Exactly. Let your device batteries die. Put phones, tablets, computers, anything tempting away and out of sight. And crucially, put the charger somewhere completely different.
Oh, that's key.
Or even give them to someone else to hold on to for you for the detox period.
It's like that analogy, you wouldn't walk around carrying a bowl of M&Ms if you were trying to eat less sugar.
Exactly.
So why have your phone, your digital candy, sitting right there next to you or on your nightstand?
Precisely. If you use your phone as an alarm, maybe bury the email or social media apps deep within folders on like page 5 of your screen.
That's hard to find.
Or just get a classic alarm clock. The less visible and accessible it is, the less you'll think about it. Out of sight, out of mind really works here.
Okay, so you've planned, you've hidden the candy. What happens when you actually stop? It's not always like a smooth, easy transition.
It often isn't. Step 3 is treat withdrawal symptoms. And the sources are honest about this. You might feel jittery, anxious, restless, have that compulsive urge to check.
Yeah.
It can genuinely feel like a form of withdrawal, and that discomfort can be significant. Remember the shock study. That discomfort of doing nothing is real.
So we need some kind of methadone for digital withdrawal.
In a metaphorical sense, yes. You need to find naturally rewarding activities to fill that space, to ease the boredom, the anxiety, the underlying craving.
Right.
The idea is to replace the artificial stimulation with genuinely engaging experiences. Schedule something new and exciting that provides that novelty fix without needing a screen.
But part of it is also just allowing yourself to feel those uncomfortable emotions, isn't it? Not instantly trying to numb them out.
That's a really key insight. Allow yourself to feel bored or anxious or restless. Don't immediately reach for a distraction.
Yeah.
Numbing those negative feelings with external stimulation also kind of numbs your capacity to feel deep positive emotions like joy or love.
So just notice them.
Just notice where those feelings are in your body, maybe. Without judgment, just sit with it for a bit.
And practice mindfulness.
Yeah.
As Harvard psychologist Ellen Langer calls it, actively noticing things.
Yeah, just paying attention to your surroundings, the people around you, your internal state. She's shown this practice alone is linked to increased health, intelligence, and happiness. It's powerful.
Simple but powerful.
And connecting in real life is also just paramount. Strong, positive relationships are so fundamental to happiness. Make actual plans with loved ones. But also, don't underestimate engaging in brief, positive interactions with strangers, the person at the checkout, the barista.
Those little moments.
Those small connections build a sense of belonging, which is huge.
That's a great point. Even small, everyday interactions matter. And there was that interesting tactic from psychologist Sanja Lyubomirsky about appreciating what you have.
Oh, yes, the moving away exercise.
Yeah.
She had participants imagine they were moving away from their town in a month. And those who did this reported feeling significantly happier and more appreciative of the people and places in their current lives. It makes you savor your present reality more when you perceive its finiteness, you know? Helps you see the value when you're not constantly looking elsewhere on a screen.
That's clever. Okay, so you've got your plan, you've hidden the candy, you're managing withdrawal symptoms. But what about the inevitable slip-ups? Because, let's be real, we're not perfect.
This is so incredibly important because slips will happen. First, don't get emotional or self-critical about it. Forgive yourself immediately. Guilt and shame are just not helpful motivators here.
They just make you feel worse.
Exactly. Instead, comfort yourself in a healthy way, a hug from someone, maybe a brief walk outside, rather than seeking that potentially familiar but unhelpful dopamine hit from technology when you feel stressed or down about slipping.
So forgive yourself, then figure out what happened. Like detective work.
Exactly. Analyze the slip objectively. What triggered it? Were you stressed, tired, hungry, feeling lonely? Identify the specific vulnerability and make a concrete plan for how you will handle that specific situation differently the next time it pops up. Learn from it.
And you have to watch out for the what the hell effect. I know this one.
Right, formerly known as the abstinence violation effect. It's that feeling that, oh, well, I've already broken my rule once, might as well just abandon the whole effort and go back to my old habits.
Yeah, screw it.
Don't let one slip snowball into a full relapse. Stop the binge the moment you notice it and get right back to your plan immediately. Every moment you cut the binge short is a win that builds momentum and confidence.
Rededicate yourself right then and there. Remind yourself why you started this whole process and how you or others will benefit.
And there's one more subtle trap to be aware of, even on your good days. Moral licensing.
Moral licensing, what's that?
This is when you feel virtuous because you've been doing well, sticking to your plan, and that feeling of accomplishment unconsciously gives you permission to backslide.
Oh, interesting.
Studies have shown this in various contexts, like smokers taking a vitamin C pill might actually smoke more, or people buying eco-friendly products might then feel justified in being less charitable elsewhere.
So doing well can actually make you vulnerable to doing poorly later. That's sneaky.
It can if you fall into that trap. The key is to connect your actions not just to that temporary feeling of accomplishment, but to your deeper underlying goals and values. Focus on why you want to make these changes in the long term, rather than just feeling good about checking off a box today. That helps prevent that kind of self-sabotage.
That makes sense. Focus on the why. Now, beyond these daily strategies, one option that comes up a lot in the sources for a more complete reset is dedicating time and space for a digital detox, maybe like at a retreat.
Yes, nature retreats in particular are highlighted as really powerful settings for this. Nature offers a kind of natural antidote to digital overwhelm. It provides an environment of peace and tranquility away from all that constant stimulation. Why specifically nature, though? What benefits does it offer that really help with unplugging?
Well, nature provides a whole range of healing benefits. There's significant stress reduction, just the calming sounds, the natural scenery, the fresh air. They've been shown to lower cortisol levels.
Okay, less stress hormone.
Mental clarity is enhanced. Away from distractions, it boosts focus, creativity, problem solving. Physical well-being is improved through outdoor activities, clean air, vitamin D from sunlight. Emotionally, nature can reduce feelings of anxiety and depression, foster a sense of peace, perspective, and importantly, it provides space for self-reflection and growth, helping you reconnect with yourself.
It really sounds like nature offers the exact opposite of many of the negative effects of constant tech use we were talking about earlier.
Precisely. And activities often incorporated into nature retreats are designed to leverage these benefits. Forest bathing, or Shinrin-yoku.
Shinrin-yoku, right?
It involves mindfully immersing yourself in the forest environment. Research shows it decreases cortisol and actually reduces activity in the prefrontal cortex. Remember that overworked CEO part of the brain?
Yeah.
Forest bathing gives it a much-needed rest.
So it literally helps your brain's command center take a break. That's amazing.
Exactly. And practices like yoga or meditation done outdoors also amplify their benefits by combining the practice with the restorative power of the natural setting.
And the sources mentioned places like detox hotels in Turkey as examples of wellness centers that support this kind of effort.
Yes, these types of wellness centers often offer a really holistic approach that complements digital detox perfectly. They include physical activities like yoga or hiking, which provide healthy stimulation and exercise.
Right.
They often feature luxurious spa treatments, promoting deep relaxation, which is essential for stress reduction, and just general well-being during a detox. Nutritional counseling with personalized plans, often using fresh local ingredients, supports the body's natural processes.
So it's the whole package.
These services really contribute to feeling restored and healthy, which reinforces the benefits of being unplugged. Plus, their focus on sustainability, like reducing waste or plastics, kind of aligns with a broader theme of respecting our environment, both internal and external.
If someone listening is thinking about a retreat focused on nature or wellness, what factors should they look for based on what we've read?
Well, definitely look for a truly remote location, ideally with limited or no reliable connectivity that's pretty crucial for a real break.
Got to cut the cord.
Check for comfortable amenities, like cozy accommodations and nourishing food. See if they have a commitment to sustainability, if that's important to you. Evaluate the wellness programs offered. Do they include activities like yoga, meditation, guided nature experiences? Make sure the natural surroundings are inspiring and resonate with you personally. And always check reviews from past guests to get a sense of the actual experience.
Good advice. There are also some really powerful anecdotes about detoxing in nature in the sources, like the Mount Toubkal hike.
Oh yeah, that story really highlighted how intense physical challenge in a natural setting can serve as its own powerful distraction and source of stimulation. The demanding focus required to climb that mountain completely absorbed the hiker's attention.
No room to think about the phone.
Exactly. It just pushed the urge to check their phone right out of their mind. Nature provided the context and the challenge that just won the competition for attention.
And the Snowdonia Shepherd's Hut experience was different, more focused on stillness, right?
Yes, a deliberate removal from all modern conveniences, no electricity, no phone signal. Days were structured around walking, reading, quiet reflection, evenings by a campfire.
Sounds lovely, actually.
The result was this profound sense of calm, time feeling slower and richer, improved concentration, and a feeling of having really reclaimed one's attention from all those digital demands.
Those are inspiring, definitely, but not everyone can just take off for a retreat or a mountain hike. So how do we take these principles and weave them into our busy everyday lives?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And the sources provide plenty of actionable daily practices. A foundational one is setting clear technology boundaries.
Like rules for yourself.
Yeah, schedule specific times during the day when you allow yourself to check emails or social media rather than just constant monitoring. And create designated tech-free zones in your home, like the bedroom or the dining area.
So the bedroom isn't just for sleeping. It's like a tech-free sanctuary where devices just don't enter.
Ideally, yes. Also, actively schedule and engage in mindful offline activities. Make time for reading a physical book, taking nature walks, even a short one in a local park counts. Practicing meditation or yoga. These fill the time previously spent scrolling with actually enriching experiences.
Connect with loved ones in real life. That came up before, too.
Crucially important. Prioritize face-to-face interactions or actual phone calls, without screens involved. Make time for meaningful conversations. And practice gratitude daily. Consciously reflecting on what you're thankful for really helps shift perspective away from those comparative social media feeds. Embrace offline hobbies, painting, gardening, cooking, anything that engages you in the physical world.
These are concrete steps. What about just carving out more downtime, more rest, even when life feels totally packed?
Yeah, the sources suggest taking recess. Remember recess from school.
Hmm.
After focused work periods, take breaks that are truly restful or playful, not just switching to another chore or checking your phone. Read for pleasure, step outside, listen to music without doing anything else, take a short walk. Even a few minutes of genuine disconnection helps your brain recharge.
Mindful eating is another practice mentioned. Even if you're busy,
Yes, even when you're busy, taking just a few minutes to eat mindfully, paying attention to the sensations, tastes, smells, it's linked to reduce stress and can surprisingly improve creativity and productivity by allowing different parts of your brain to activate.
and maybe the most challenging but potentially most rewarding daily practice, simply staring into space.
Relearning how to just be without doing. The insight here is that when we feel time-starved, we often don't actually need more time. We need more stillness within the time we have.
Okay.
Stillness allows for reflection, emotional processing, and simply enjoying life without the pressure to constantly consume or produce. Just sit comfortably, look out a window or at a blank wall, and just notice the boredom or restlessness without judgment. Try it.
I should try that. And Ron Friedman, the psychologist, has a great point about naps.
He does. He emphasizes that a 20-minute power nap isn't laziness. It's a really powerful tool for cognitive improvement. It can boost thinking, decision-making, creativity, mood, alertness, accuracy. If your job requires complex thought, Integrating short naps can dramatically improve the quality of your work. He argues, basically, if you have time for a coffee break, you have time for a power nap, because a biological need for rest is as fundamental as the need for food or water.
Good point. All of these practices, whether they're small daily things or bigger retreats, they seem much more sustainable if you have support, right?
Absolutely. Back to tell your people what you are up to. Making your intentions known to friends and family creates that crucial accountability. We are social creatures, herd animals, and our behavior is strongly influenced by our peers.
Sure.
Surrounding yourself with people who support your goals and maybe even model healthy habits themselves makes a huge difference. Sharing your plans, even with just a small circle, gives them more weight.
And there's even research suggesting colleagues might notice positive changes in your productivity when you cut back on the constant checking.
Yes, Leslie Perlow's research explored this. When people reduced that constant digital availability, colleagues often perceived them as more collaborative, efficient, and effective because their interactions became more focused and less fragmented.
Interesting. So it benefits work too. So, okay, this deep dive has taken us all the way from that initial uncomfortable feeling of stillness
Yeah.
to exploring the powerful neurological and psychological hooks of our devices, the significant negative effects on our well-being, the clear benefits of unplugging, practical strategies from planning and hiding devices to managing withdrawal.
Right through to the power of nature retreats as a reset.
And finally, actionable ways to integrate these principles into our busy daily lives.
We've seen that our constant connectivity isn't just accidental. It's driven by our brain's wiring and, let's be honest, deliberate design. But it comes at a real cost to our productivity, our sleep, our mental health, and maybe even our brain structure. Intentionally unplugging, in whatever form it takes, really is a path to reclaiming your attention, improving your overall well-being, and fostering deeper, more meaningful connections in the actual real world.
And it's not a one-time fix, is it? It's more of a continuous journey of finding that balance.
Exactly. There will be ups and downs. Slips are definitely part of the process.
Yep.
The key is to be kind to yourself, learn from them, and rededicate yourself, avoiding those traps like the what the hell effect or moral licensing. The goal is just to find a healthier relationship with technology, one that allows for more stillness and more real-world presence.
So what does all of this mean for you listening right now? Thinking about how our brains are wired for novelty, how easily we seek out external stimulation from our devices, and how uncomfortable stillness can sometimes feel. Here's maybe a thought to sit with. What is one small moment today where you could consciously choose stillness or a real-world connection instead of automatically reaching for your phone?